Today, we bring you a 2018 South Korean comedy film called Sun Vit. This film is special because of the famous actor Don Lee, who is well known among fans of Korean films. The story, humor, emotions, and acting are so impressive that it becomes a must-watch. If you are new to our channel, please watch the video completely and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. The film starts with a police officer named Lonnie, who is chasing a thief and finally catches him. Then he wears his badge and gets on a bus. On the bus, a rude man forces a woman to give up her seat while the other passengers remain silent. A girl sitting nearby is recording a video, and the man threatens her to turn off the camera if she wants to keep her phone safe. On the same bus, the film's hero, Jin-soo, is also present. He stops the rude man from misbehaving but then says that his stop is next and he is getting off. He pushes the man aside and gets off the bus. The girl is surprised and asks, "Your shirt says, Chief Trainer, and you did nothing?" He replies, "Fighting such people is not my job." Sometimes people hit him in the stomach and walk away but he doesn't react. Later we see him training kids in combat. Then a doctor comes in with the good news that a heart donation is available for his daughter. Upon hearing this, Jin-soo becomes very happy. However, the doctor informs him that money needs to be arranged immediately. Jin-soo says, "You prepare, I will sell my gym and get the money." Meanwhile, Tony comes to meet his girlfriend Dina, who sells fish. She says that she will not leave until the fish are sold. Tony gives money to a woman and asks her to buy all the fish, which she does. Dina happily goes home with Tony. This becomes their daily routine. Next, the story focuses on Jin-soo's daughter, Chitki, who loves fighting but her heart is weak, so Jin-soo has strictly forbidden her from fighting. One day, after coming out of the shower, Chitki is standing silently. When Jin-soo asks, she says, "Nothing, Papa, I was just standing here." Jin-soo realizes that she has been secretly playing and scolds her, telling her that her heart is weak. She feels sad. Jin-soo comforts her, saying, "Once you get better, you can play as much as you want." She becomes happy hearing this. Then Jin-soo prepares her for school. A few years ago, Jin-soo's wife passed away, and since then he has been taking care of his daughter alone. When he takes her to school, she starts running. Jin-soo tells her to walk calmly, but she clutches her chest and starts walking slowly. The scene shifts to a man coming to the police station, shouting angrily at Tony, saying, "It's been days and you haven't found my dog yet." The police officers don't say anything. Then Tony replies, "Sir, please give us some more time, we will definitely find your dog." That night, Tony goes out to search for the dog. When he reaches the harbor, he sees some people forcefully putting girls into a car. He follows their vehicle to a checkpoint where Jin-soo is standing. Tony says, "I need to check the car." Jin-soo replies, "Look, I am a trainer, I don't do anything illegal," and drives the car away. The next day, Jin-soo drops Chitki at school and leaves. Tony notices that instead of going to school, Chitki is heading toward a building. But he also needs to follow another suspicious person, so he decides to follow that person. The same vehicle stops in front of a gym. Tony immediately takes a picture of him. When Jin-soo sees it, he scolds him, asking, "What are you doing near my car?" But Tony doesn't say anything. Later, while shopping at the supermarket, Tony spots a member of a gang. This was the same gang that was kidnapping girls the previous night. Tony wants to follow their car, but it drives away. That night, Lonnie is out drinking with his friend, and his zipper comes down. Just then, Jin-soo is passing by with his daughter, but he doesn't help. Later, Tony tells his friend Michael, "Did you see? How strange is this guy? I think he's doing something illegal because he always shows up around me." Michael, who is also a police officer, says, "I know him. He's a very decent person. He never gets involved in other people's fights." That night, Tony goes to the supermarket and waits for Jin-soo. Occasionally, Jin-soo stands outside a club talking on the phone. Tony watches him from behind and wants to follow him. But suddenly they hear a girl scream. Tony immediately leaves Jin-soo and goes after the sound. He sees some club members beating a girl. While being beaten, the girl hides her phone in the plants. Tony watches all this but can't do anything because there are too many people around. The gang leader forces the girl to tell them where the phone is. Tony understands that the phone must have something important. He quietly goes and picks up the phone. Later, Tony and Michael connect the phone to a computer. They discover that this gang had been keeping many girls captive, and the girl had filmed a video of them. That's why they were beating her. The next morning, Tony gets a call telling him that the house he had been thinking about is ready for him. He goes to pick up the keys and is very happy. He reaches a room where he finds some evidence. Meanwhile, Jingso goes to buy a prayer for his daughter. When he goes to pick up his car, it's not there. There's a note saying that his car has been towed to the station. Jingso gets very angry because he had parked the car properly. Just then he sees Tony and thinks, this must be his doing. He wonders if Tony has been following his car as well. In his anger, Jingso runs after Tony. Meanwhile, Tony reaches the parking area that Michael told him about. Some gang members surround him and ask, where is the memory card? They start beating him. Tony tries to escape but ends up under a car. Just then Michael arrives, who is actually involved with the gang. He scolds the gang saying, I just asked for the memory card. Why did you beat him so much? At that moment, Jingso also arrives, but the gang tries to beat him as well. An ambulance arrives and everyone is taken to the hospital. Tony loses consciousness and falls into a coma. The surprising thing is that Tony's soul leaves his body. He is very worried about what will happen now, whether he will survive or not. He asks everyone around him, can you see me? The next morning, Jingso regains consciousness. When he tries to get up, the nurse stops him and says, take it easy, you have an injury on your head. He wants to see his daughter, and the nurse informs him that she stayed by his side all night. Jingso says, you shouldn't have stayed awake all night. He adds, I'll send you to your friend's house, he will take care of you. As soon as Jingso steps outside, Tony's spirit appears in front of him. Jingso gets scared when he sees him. This means Jingso can now see Tony's spirit. Tony keeps appearing in front of him and asks, can you see me? In anger, Jingso says, don't ever come in front of me again or I will deal with you. He pushes Tony's spirit. But when his hand goes through Tony's body and comes out, Jingso screams in fear. When he regains consciousness, Tony's spirit asks the nurse, can you see this person? He's standing right here. The nurse replies, sir, there's no one here except you and me. It seems the deep injury on your head is affecting your mind. Tony then says, my spirit has left my body, please help me. But Jingso, scared, runs away from him. Michael, who is involved with the gang, visits the hospital and tells Tina, take care of him. If he needs anything, call me. Michael also says, when he regains consciousness, ask him about the memory card, it's very important for a case. Then he gets a call which he disconnects. Now Tony sees his friend's true face because he was involved in illegal activities. Tony meets the gang leader, who is also the police chief. He kidnaps girls and sells them. The police chief asks, have you found the memory card? Michael replies, no sir, and Tony is still in a coma. The police chief threatens him, don't come back until the memory card is found. If you don't bring it, I'll make sure you're not alive. Michael leaves the place. Now the police chief's gang comes to catch Jingso because he was there that day. They believe Jingso knows something about the memory card. Jingso, scared, runs to avoid them. But they catch him and try to beat him. Jingso fights them off and runs out safely. Afterward, he starts to believe that Tony's spirit is real. Later, Tony saves Jingso from the gang. That night, Tony's spirit sits beside his body, feeling very sad. Tony's spirit is in pain because his wife had taken a pregnancy test and found out she was pregnant. She shows him the test report and says, you need to wake up soon, please look, you're going to be a father. I'm so scared to be alone, please wake up soon. She becomes very emotional. Seeing this, Tony's spirit realizes how much she loves him. Just then her gaze falls on the memory card. She wants to call Michael to inform him, but Tony's spirit intervenes and says, this is bad, don't tell him. Only Jingso can hear Tony's voice. Jingso calls his friend, who tells him that Chuki is missing. Jingso gets scared and immediately goes out to search for Chuki. But then Tony comes to him and asks for help, tell my girlfriend not to inform Michael about the memory card. Jingso is worried about his daughter and is not in a position to help Tony at that moment. He searches for Chuki everywhere but can't find her. Then Tony says, I saw your daughter walking towards the building near the school, not the school itself. Now they both go to the building. Chuki is unconscious there, drawing something. Suddenly she feels pain in her chest and faints. Jingso quickly takes her to the hospital. The doctors tell him that if she doesn't get surgery soon, it will be difficult to save her. Jingso becomes very worried because he can't do anything for his daughter. Then Tony's spirit comes and sits beside him, comforting him. One day Jingso is going somewhere with his family. It's morning and the sun hasn't risen yet. On the way he sees an overturned car. Jingso immediately stops his car and runs to help. He saves one man but thinks there might be someone else in the car. As he tries to get them out, suddenly a truck comes from the front and crashes into Jingso's car. Although Jingso had parked his car on the side, the accident leads to the death of his wife, and Chuki's body gets injured. Jingso says that if he hadn't helped the passenger that day, his wife would still be with him, and his daughter wouldn't be in such a state. Since then he decided that he would not interfere in any matters. Michael gives him the memory card, but Michael is also very worried because Tony is getting weaker. He feels angry at the police chief and his gang because they have turned Tony into a living corpse. Then Tony punches Michael hard but the punch doesn't land. Instead the punch stays extended and begins to move. Jingso was unable to do anything, but changes started happening in his body. His condition began to change. The doctor tells Tina that Tony's condition is getting worse day by day. Upon hearing this, Tina becomes very sad and recalls the happy moments she spent with Tony. Meanwhile, suddenly a gang captures Tina and puts her in a car. Tony is unable to do anything. Jingso is worried because he can't afford his daughter's surgery, and on top of that, someone else has received a donor's heart. During this time, Tony asks Jingso for help to save Tina, but Jingso remains silent. Tony, giving up, walks away but then Jingso stops him and says he will help him. Tony notes down the car number, and using that he finds the car's location. The police chief had locked Tina up there. In fact, Michael, who blames the police chief for Tony's condition, refuses to give the memory card. So they kidnap Tina to threaten Michael into returning the memory card. Now Jingso, his friends and Tony all head to the police chief's place. They go to press a lever but snow starts falling from above and they think it's the wrong lever. Tony goes inside and finds Tina. He also sees some girls in a room whom the police chief had kidnapped. Jingso immediately beats the police chief's men and frees the girls. But one of the police chief's men escapes. He finds out the location through the news and informs Jingso. Jingso then reaches the place and beats the police chief so badly that he becomes weak. Just then, police cars arrive, and they arrest Jingso because the police chief is their senior officer. Meanwhile, Michael brings the crime department officers there. Michael feels very ashamed because he thinks Tony's condition worsened because of him. So, he becomes a whistleblower and informs the crime department about the police chief's illegal activities. However, the police chief accuses them. One day during a test, Tony remembers that day when he had shaken a disturbance. He uses all his strength to try pressing the lever. He tries many times but finally, using all his energy, he presses the lever. After that, snowflakes start falling on the police chief, and Jingso takes the opportunity to start beating him. Then crime department officers arrest the police chief and his gang. Slowly they also rescue Tina and the other girls. To thank Jingso for saving the girls, Tony asks if he can do one last favor. Jingso says that what he's done so far is enough. Tony then says, "I bought a new house for my girlfriend. Please take her there and give her the keys." Jingso shows Tina the new house in the morning and hands her the keys. He tells her, "Close your eyes. When you open them you'll see Tony." Tina closes her eyes, then opens them and she sees Tony's spirit. Tony says, "I didn't want to leave you like this, but what can we do about fate? Take care of yourself and our children. If you ever need help, remember I'll always be with you. I wanted to live a happy life with you, but my destiny stopped me. Even if I die, I'll always watch over you." After this, the scene shifts to the hospital where Tony, who was in a coma, has tears coming from his eyes. Chuki is struggling to find a heart for a heart transplant, but now the doctors have decided to take Tony's heart and give it to Chuki. Tina agrees to this. The doctor is called for the surgery. Jingso feels that the doctor's face looks familiar. Then he remembers that a few years ago when he was traveling with his family in the car, he saved a person who was caught in an accident. The doctor also recognizes Jingso's face and asks, "Have I seen you before?" Jingso replies, "Yes, a few years ago I saved you in an accident and you called for an ambulance." The doctor recalls and says, "Yes, I remember now. When I woke up, I asked everyone who saved me but no one mentioned your name." Then the doctor asks, "The child who is undergoing surgery, is she your daughter?" Jingso replies, "Yes, she is my daughter." The doctor says, "Now she's not just your daughter, she's also my daughter. Don't worry, I won't charge you for this surgery, and you won't need to raise money for it." He then goes to the operating room and corrects the pressure, saving Chuki. Jingso, who had been blaming himself for not helping that day, now realizes that if he hadn't helped, his wife might still be alive. He understands that the help he gave that day saved his daughter's life. One day, Jingso is on his way to the supermarket when the same young man is bothering an elderly person. Jingso asks him, "What happened? Has your stop arrived?" The young man tells Jingso, "My stop has arrived, but your stop is also here now." Jingso hits the young man and throws him off the bus. The other passengers support Jingso and encourage him. The young man who once avoided helping others now begins to help people. One day Tina, who is pregnant, comes to Jingso. Chuki sees her and hugs her, showing her a drawing. In the drawing, Chuki has drawn Tony, Tina, and their child. Then, hearing Tony's heartbeat, Chuki says, "This is Tony's heart." This gives Tina hope, and she believes Tony will always be with her. Finally, Tony's spirit is happy, looking at Chuki from the sky. And with that, the story ends. If you liked the story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you and see you in the next video.